name is Jennifer Walsh, and I'm on a mission to get more people outdoors, to understand and share the health benefits of spending time in nature, to fully comprehend the power that green spaces in nature have on our overall health, well-being, and mental state. We decided to film the entire season at the beautiful wellness community, Serenbe. Their mission is to live and work in harmony with nature, connecting people to nature and each other, so choosing to film in this beautiful place was a perfect fit in every way. The conversations on my walk are open and lively. We speak to a cross-section of industry leaders, people with varied backgrounds, yet all share how their connections and time spent in nature have shaped their life and their work. Join me on a walk with Walsh. This season made possible by Mother Dirt, good bacteria for great skin. Hi everyone, I'm Jennifer Walsh, and welcome to this week's episode of A Walk with Walsh, where I'm so thrilled to have Jasmina Aganovic.
Hi.
Hi, from Mother Dirt. You are in the place to be for Mother Dirt.
I have been wanting to come here forever. I'm so excited.
I'm so excited. You're the president of Mother Dirt. And I would love to chat with you as we walk to talk all about what you do at Mother Dirt.
Let's do it.
There you go. Okay, cool. So I have a million questions for you, so I'm going to try and keep it as short as possible.
Yeah.
But first of all, I've been in beauty for 20 years, so what you've done for Mother Dirt is fascinating to me. But I know the fact that you started at MI, like you came from MIT.
Yeah.
You were a researcher, or tell us more.
Chemical and biological engineer.
Okay, just an engineer.
Yeah,
chemical and biological.
Just an engineer.
Just an engineer. Fantastic.
So I actually didn't have plans on going into beauty specifically when I was in college. And then I had an internship where I was asked to look at a bunch of research for beauty that was coming out of one of the labs that was in Cambridge.
Okay.
And basically say what's worth keeping, what's not worth keeping.
Sure.
And that was my big epiphany, where I realized, hey, this is an industry that I'm really passionate about, and I could really bring my technical expertise to. And that was my aha moment. And basically from when I graduated from school, my whole career has been in personal care and beauty.
Really? So did you kind of just have that love for that almost like R&D of saying, okay, there's so much we can learn from this? Or you kind of found something, you're like, oh wait, we're onto something.
A little bit of both.
Okay.
It started with a deep appreciation for the industry, because I think it's a great industry for women. It is so innovative and so fast moving.
Yes.
And it's really creative. So it's kind of the best of all worlds for how my brain works. I really love and appreciate the creativity, and I'm so highly inspired by that. But I also love the rapid pace of it. And it's one of the industries that adopts new innovation and technology the fastest.
They really do.
Which is why I also, like, the engineer part of my brain, and the part of my brain that really enjoys more technical things was really drawn to that. So it was kind of a combination of all of those things.
Well, you had the perfect brain though. You can also, like, you have the science side, and then of course the creative side that not everyone has. Some people are, I've got to stick to science because it's what I'm really, really passionate about, but you love both sides of it, which is really cool, especially for beauty.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. And you know, one of the things that I've learned that I really am passionate about through my career is specifically taking things that are really innovative and groundbreaking,
Yes.
but need to be translated in a really specific way so that the maximal amount of people can be impacted by it in a positive way. So figuring out how to translate innovative technologies in a way that is fun and approachable and makes sense is something that I really love doing. I think it's like a puzzle.
Absolutely. Well, I think that's interesting too, because right now, what you're doing in terms of like science and finding things out, again, you didn't plan on going into beauty per se. So did you, in your studies and your research, what was it that really sparked something in you that you thought, okay, we're onto something? Because I know with Mother Dirt, you didn't set out to create a brand.
Right.
So how did that evolution really happen?
So at the time that I started on the journey with Mother Dirt, I had worked at a few different companies, the most recent of which was this brand called Living Proof, which people might know as a hair care brand. And actually, Living Proof is founded by Dr. Bob Langer. I worked in his lab for several years when I was at MIT, and he's also a chemical engineer from MIT. And so he's one of the founders of Living Proof. So I got a chance to work on their R&D team, and I also got a chance to see the inner workings of really how brands grow. And I also had such rich learning experiences in what they experienced in trying to deliver really innovative technology to a category that hadn't seen innovation in a really long time. And so I had developed this reputation for being the science person that went into beauty. And so I ended up getting connected to this group of other MIT people who were interested in having me take a look at their technology, which happened to be bacteria.
Okay.
And they wanted to know whether or not it would be possible to build a brand around this as a technology. And this was the very early beginnings of what ended up becoming Mother Dirt.
When was this? Was this like 2015?
2014.
2014.
Yeah.
So I had to stop right there. First of all, I love the location that we're in. So we're in Serendipity, and they host these amazing shows and plays, and we're like on the set of what was once Peter Pan.
Yeah.
Right? Is this great?
Oh my gosh.
It's magical. I just had to stop because this is just so beautiful and picturesque, and you think, what is a ship doing here in the middle of a forest?
That's amazing.
But this is so Serendipity that they have their plays here, and this is, which was once Peter Pan.
That's so beautiful.
I know, it's so great. Okay, I have to ask you this because what you talk about Mother Dirt, first of all, the fact that you created this in 2014 and here it is 2019, and all that you've done in such a limited time, small time, is pretty phenomenal. And we'll get to that, but I'm just kind of blown away with what you have created and found out and discovered, because really you are, because so many brands I see in beauty, they're like, oh, I want to create a lipstick, or I want to create this because I want to sell it in like 3 years, I want to flip it, I want to cash out or something, which kind of hurts me inside, because I always think if you want to create something beautiful and meaningful, you want to have it for as long as you can.
Yeah.
And I love the fact that you really came from a research side, and especially something with bacteria. And here we are at Serendipity, where we're all about touching nature and feeling nature. And I think what you're doing is so important and so impactful, because we're losing our touch with nature. Like we're losing, no one wants to touch anything anymore. Everyone's afraid, and everyone's so sterilized. And especially in beauty, where we're using a million different products to like clean our skin and strip our skin of everything. And here Mother Dirt comes along and says, wait a second, we have to have those.
It needs to be different.
Yeah. So tell us about Mother Dirt exactly, what it does.
Yeah, well, first, I want to go back to something that you said just like a few short moments ago, which I thought was really powerful, which is the motivations behind why people create products and why they launch brands. And you had mentioned that launching this brand was not part of our original intention, and you're totally right.
Yeah.
But it also goes back to one of the things that we were talking about, which is so wonderful about the industry, which is that it's fast moving and it's creative. And actually, we viewed the brand, so creating this brand around bacteria, not as like, hey, we're going to grow this to a crazy size and just sell a ton of product. Instead, we viewed it as a powerful opportunity to have a conversation with people. Because this whole concept of, okay, bacteria might not be as bad for you as we thought, and actually it's really important for our overall health and well-being, we can have those conversations and we can read those words on a piece of paper.
Sure.
But it's a fundamentally different thing if we have a product that we're using and we see a change and a difference with our own eyes. That is a
100%.
wholly fundamentally different level of understanding, of appreciation and believing.
And I so appreciate that, by the way.
Right?
You're like so many levels of speaking my language, but go ahead.
So with Mother Dirt, that was really the core of it. We wanted to create a product that was focused on this front and center, which is why the name is provocative and some would even say controversial, right? It has dirt in its name. But because we wanted to trigger a conversation and we wanted people to see a change and a shift with their own eyes. And we knew that this was not a mass product overnight, but that it was really important to keep that conversation going, because that's eventually how people start to change their minds.
Yeah. And that's exactly it. You have to start having the conversation,
Right.
and then showing people why.
Yep.
The why. Why do we need bacteria on our skin? We've been told marketing has been teaching us for decades. Scrub, clean, and take away.
Yeah.
And here you are, like, no, you have to spray it on or put it back on our skin, because what? Like me, only like for hundreds and hundreds, millions of years, we've been living in the grass and living in the dirt.
Yeah.
So why animals like roll in the dirt or spend time in the dirt, that's what we're doing. So how do you then teach people about putting it back on?
Yeah, good question.
I mean, that's got to be hard.
For sure.
I mean, I get it.
We knew it was going to be, Well, we knew it was going to be not easy.
Yes.
But when we went out to build the brand, I mean, it was built around a few core tenets, one of which was scientific. So science is at the backbone of who we are and what we do. And part of that is integrity, and the other part of it is because we know we're doing something so new and different, we think that we need to be really good stewards for the industry and this emerging category. Then the other part of it was actually remarkably simple. We wanted to build this brand around human values. And so our values are about reconnecting with nature. You can connect with that much more easily than you can connect with our bacteria, which is ammonia oxidizing bacteria or nitrous ammonium eutropha, like that. There's no emotional pull or tug there, but we can all appreciate connecting with nature. One of our other values was reconnecting with the child within. So that time when we were little and we would want to go outside and play, and we didn't actually care about getting dirty. You don't think about that. And there's so little of that now, but whenever you bring that up, people have a very emotional response to it. And all of these things now have more scientific support around why they're important. But we want to lead with those values and messages because we're all human beings at the end of the day, and we can connect around these shared values much more easily than we can connect around more
science. I'm
yes.
so glad you said that, because so many beauty brands that are really backed and based on science, it comes off as cold and it's not really relatable. And I think what's smart about what you're doing is you understand that people need that connection to something. They need to feel it. And I think the best way you do that is teaching people why we should be feeling the plants, feeling the dirt, and how that affects us on a scientific level.
Right. You know, I've always found myself in this like very sticky in between scientists and marketers, and it's always been really interesting for me to see how the scientists in some way like think that what the marketers do are silly, and the marketers think that scientists have no idea how to communicate the importance of what they're doing. And it's always been so tough for me because there's such immense value in what both of them bring. And I think the most powerful takeaway that I have on that tension that exists is that just because the science doesn't go first, it doesn't mean that it's not important. And so we tend to stack rank these things in a way that makes us believe that it's representative of levels of importance, but it isn't. All of these things need to work together in a very synergistic way to make a message come across in a powerful, moving way so that people can connect with it. Basically, each message has its point in time that it can come across most powerfully.
That's such a great point, because you're right, people think it has to come like a certain way or another way, and one is better than the other. But it has to just come together in a meaningful way. Like you just said, it has to be impactful and make sense and be honest. Because I think what you're doing too is like, I know people must always ask you for more information because you're based in research and you have tons of clinicals, I'm sure. Do people ask you for your data or your information, like white papers and stuff? Because do you have patents as well?
Yes, so we do have a patent on the bacteria that's in our mist.
And it's the same, is it one bacteria?
It's one bacteria. We call it the peacekeeper bacteria.
I like that.
It comes from the dirt. And going back to what you were saying earlier, if you think about how we as human beings once used to live, we were much more immersed in the natural environment. We were walking barefoot.
Like touching these things.
Interacting,
feeling.
taking walks just like this. We were also swimming in lakes and rivers and streams, like the one that we just walked by. And these were all natural mechanisms by which we would cover our bodies with bacteria from the natural environment, including the one that is in our hero product, the AO Plus Mist. But in the last 100 or so years, we've removed this bacteria and presumably several others because they're really sensitive to surfactants and preservatives that are found in modern personal care products. And when you think about one of the core pillars in the cosmetics and the personal care industry, it's that cleaning means squeaky clean. It also means killing 99.9% of bacteria.
So every claim, I always see that on every whatever.
And if you look at the underpinning of what's motivating that, it's all because we want to be healthy. And so we find ourselves at this really interesting crossroads where I think a lot of consumers are saying, hey, I've done all of these things. I've listened to what you've told me, but I'm not actually healthier. Right?
God,
So
yes.
why is it that I'm still struggling with my skin? Why is
Yes.
it that inflammation is one of the biggest modern diseases that we're dealing with?
I was just going to ask you that.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm going to go back to time. So
Okay.
you referenced this a couple times earlier, and we've been like running away with this conversation. So
I know,
I'm glad
it's
that
all
we
over
get
the place. Sorry, I'm like so
No,
I'm
not
so
that
excited.
it is
so I'm kind of everywhere
not,
with you.
No, it is not that it's all over the place. It's just that there are so many. Everything that you're bringing up,
Yeah.
we could talk so much more
I
about
know.
because they're all such powerful and rich topics. So going back to time, so you had mentioned like, oh, well, we're told to like scrub and clean. Yes, but only in the recent modern history, like literally the last 100 years of our
Really?
existence. But the previous 200,000 years, we never used soaps or anything. And
My
we were also
gosh.
much more immersed in the natural environment. So when you look at modern humans and what modern living entails and means,
Yes.
it has changed so rapidly just in the last
100
150 years, which is all but like a
speck.
snippet,
Yeah.
in the timeline of human existence. And our bodies cannot, from an evolution standpoint, they can't move quickly enough to adjust to this new environment that we've created
Such
that
a good
is
point.
separate from nature, that is more sterile, that
Mm-hmm.
is exposed to much more chemistry or petroleum-based products or compounds. So modern human existence or modern existence is really just such a small point on the entire time scale, and our bodies are doing their best to keep up with it.
That's
but
so interesting.
yeah,
That
it's-
makes a great point. Because I know a million things, but does that also have to do with our environment then? Because we were outside and now we're closed off and we're
Yep.
inside and you're in the Northeast, I also live in the Northeast, and we're in these like buildings.
Yep.
So is that hurting us as well? Because now our bodies are trying to reconfigure or figure out like how to survive.
So our bodies are programmed to try and make sure that we stay alive and healthy. And so that's one of the underpinnings of evolution, right? But evolution at the rate at which it happens can't keep up with the rate
Yeah.
at which innovation is taking place for modern human existence. And we're not saying that we need to go back to living in forests, for example.
Sure.
But what we are saying is how can we apply what we now know into what we view as modern human existence and modern human living? And so Serenbe is doing that in part, right, with
Yes.
new urbanism and really recognizing the latest scientific research on the value that nature brings to our day-to-day. So it's about reframing it and recalibrating it versus trying to do it in a fundamentally, versus going back to
Sure,
how things
sure.
were, right?
Yep. Because that makes so much sense. Now that you're saying, I'm thinking, wow, because we were meant to be outside, yet we're in these closed off places and our bodies are being told to scrub but our bodies are really wanting the opposite.
Yeah.
The opposite. So tell us about that hero product or the hero
Sure.
ingredient or all of it.
Yeah, it's a spray. You can spray it on your body anywhere, head to toe. It's anticlimactic. People think, oh my God, it's a live bacteria. Is it going to smell weird or feel weird? The answer is no. That's one of the existing misconceptions with bacteria. You just spray it on anywhere, head to toe. The way the bacteria work, and it feels just like water, by the way, so no scent. It's really refreshing, really easy to integrate into the routine. The way the bacteria works, I think, is really cool, and it might sound creepy, but hang in there with me.
Okay, I'm ready.
They feed off of your sweat.
Okay.
So there are components in our sweat that are basically tossed out by our body because they are being detoxed.
Got it.
And they're irritating to our skin. They have a really high pH. So ammonia is one of these things. So it has a really high pH, and you might have heard, I mean, you're in the industry, so you know high pH states are really bad for the skin.
Yep.
So we hear all about pH normal or
pH levels.
using,
Yeah,
yes. So when your body is constantly sweating, the pH of your skin rises, and this is not good. What this bacteria does is it removes that, which keeps the pH of the skin in a normal level constantly throughout the day. So the whole time that it's on your skin, it is keeping the pH of your skin in that normal level, which in and of itself is really good.
Wow.
And then it's producing, again, the whole time it's on your skin, it's producing calming and soothing byproducts. So it creates this really amazing cycle for your skin. That was what it was meant to do the entire time. But instead, our approach is very different, right? With modern chemistry, it's strip, you sweat.
Yes.
I want to remove that, clean it off, and then I'm going to apply a moisturizer to put it back on.
Yep.
So when people use this product, they find that they can cut down on other products.
Wow.
That their skin is just more stable and looks better.
God, well, that's exactly like anti-inflammatory kind of,
Yeah.
because everyone's so inflamed.
Yeah.
I think. And also, I feel like the biome has been talked a lot about, like the gut biome. It's such a like hot word right now.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting that now we're having conversations about the biome of our skin.
Yes.
Because I felt like it was like so driven by food, our gut and probiotics and everything. And now hearing Mother Dirt doing what you're doing,
Yeah.
I think it's really interesting.
Yeah, right. It's the whole body is an ecosystem. I think
Yeah,
that people
absolutely.
are starting to define and look at that way. And actually where the internal biome ends and the external one begins is really hard to define. Like,
Sure.
where is it? Is it the mouth? Is it the lips? And it all just goes to show how interconnected all of that really is.
We all are.
Yeah.
So how do people receive, like, when they put the product on, they spray it? But you have other products as well in the lineup.
Sure. We call them biome friendly. And basically, while they don't have the peacekeeper bacteria in there, they are formulated in a really specific way to be friendly to it. So the idea is that you can create a personal care routine that helps put the good bacteria back on.
Yes.
And then also still lets you have your modern creature comforts of your showers, but in a way that's friendly to this ecosystem on the skin that we're just finding out about.
Interesting. I'm like loving this so much because, again, like this is like such a beautiful space to be talking about this.
Yes.
Because all that we're doing here is being in the dirt.
Yes.
And we're touching everything, and we're smelling everything. And I remember yesterday when we were here together, we were walking through the homes and there were rosemary plants. You can just like pull them off and smell them and break them open. And the whole rest of the afternoon, all I could smell was rosemary, and it was delightful.
Yeah.
Delightful.
Yeah. Some of my most vivid memories, not surprisingly, are associated with scent. But
yes.
I remember my husband and I, we were doing this trip out in Portland, and it rained, and there were these lavender plants, and I'll just never forget how fragrant the air was after the rain.
Wow.
But it is just amazing that nature is able to do this. And one of the things that I've loved just spending the last couple of days here is you see families just out and about taking a walk with their kids, or you see kids running around and heading into the trails. I think that is such an odd like luxury, but it shouldn't feel like a luxury.
Right.
It should feel like a right. Like every human being should be entitled to this, because
It's
this
important.
is what it means to be human. We humans came from this environment. It's almost ironic and sad that we've separated ourselves so much from it.
So much so that we're like suffering.
Yeah.
And our health is suffering. And like even what you were saying, going back to, modern technology, or like brands are saying to like strip away. And here we are just like telling people like, no, we need that.
We need that, yeah.
And I just think it's so fascinating and so important. So do you even let's say there are people that are always outside, like campers or people that are exposed to nature. And then they're going inside, they're stripping their skin with the normal stuff that we're doing. And you have to recommend to everyone, even if they are getting a good dosage of nature, you're still telling people, no matter what age or how much exposure you get to outside, to keep using this product as well. Your spray.
Sure. It's still important. I think we want to be really careful and not be the brand that really tells people, hey, you have to do this. I think personal care is personal, I always say. So people need to feel the permission to figure out how this fits into their day-to-day. I think there's some really obvious use cases where I would say, yeah, you probably should, like swimming in a chlorine pool. Definitely after you shower, spray yourself down with mist. Or if you work in an environment that requires a lot of sterilization, like a hospital, when you get home that night, just spray the mist on your hands. And you'll find a lot of benefit from that, just in terms of how your skin feels and looks. But also what's so interesting is you hear these stories about people who will go on a multi-day hike and they'll say really interesting things like, I don't smell, so it's really, or they go on vacation and they are by the ocean, for example, and they're just taking a dip in the ocean every single day, and they think, oh, I actually haven't needed to shower and it's been 3 days.
Yeah.
And so, not advocating for that, but
Sure.
it's really interesting just to think about why that happens and what's actually happening with our bodies, and how can we harness that in a way to create a new take on what it means to be clean and healthy, which is essentially the mission behind what we're trying to do with the product and the brand.
And it's just like the conversations you have to have.
Yes.
Like that's it. Just really education and just teaching people what's good and what's different that you might not be known to do before.
Yeah.
So how do you then experience it and be like, oh, okay. And it's not really changing my daily routine much. It's just being educated on like what my skin might need and learning about it. And I think it's just also so interesting and compelling, all of it. Are you creating new things, or like what's going on with you right now in terms of Mother Dirt?
So we are constantly building out this biome-friendly platform that we call. So constantly screening.
I love that
biome-friendly platform. We are screening new ingredients to understand their impact on this really fragile bacteria.
Sure.
But also, and this is what's more complicated, is understanding how products interact with our skin biome, and also understanding how we can define a healthy skin microbiome, because we think that just our bacteria is the tip of the iceberg. We think that it's very likely that there are so many different types of microbes that our skin and our body has lost. There was a study that was done on the Yanomami tribe, and on this tribe they found this type of bacteria on their skin, along with a whole host of other types of bacteria that we don't actually know much about. And these people have pristine skin. The paper was published in 2014, 2015.
Oh, wow. That's fascinating.
And so it's interesting to say, okay, these people have much more of these organisms existing in and on them, and they don't have any reported incidents of inflammatory disorders. And they have other health issues, which should be noted. Their lifespan is not as long as ours is, but in terms of the types of issues that teenagers deal with, it's very different / non-existent from what teenagers here deal with. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And there is so much to learn when you actually get out of the US and find out what other people are doing and how their skin is reacting, how their environment is affecting them, I would think.
Yeah, and now we know, science is showing, that within the first 2 years of our life, our microbiome is built. So we get our microbiome. It's not like passed down to us genetically like an organ or anything like that.
Okay.
Although some people do think that the microbiome should be treated as an organ system.
Okay.
But the way that we get it is through our mom during birth, and then exposure in our environment, predominantly in the first 2 years of our life. So if you think about what's important within those first 2 years and why maybe scientists now think, this is maybe why babies put everything in their mouth when they're little. It's potentially to help build this microbiome, which many scientists believe plays a really critical role in our immune system. So if we think about putting kids in a very sterile environment, it limits their exposure to things like this. But now the philosophy is changing, and the importance and value around spending time outdoors, especially at young ages, is starting to become more talked about or recommended.
That makes so much sense. I mean, again, it makes so much sense. You think it's like, this is all common sense.
Actually, some of the most brilliant ideas are remarkably simple. So I think that there's like there's
something
to it.
I mean, I think about like even growing up, I grew up in the Bronx, but I spent like mid-teen years and teen years in Westchester. But as a kid, I remember like being in the dirt.
Yeah.
And maybe even eating a dirt pie or two, but whatever. But again, like I remember making dirt pies.
Yeah.
And we did lots of stuff in the dirt as a kid, and I'm very happy I did.
Yes.
I'm really thankful that I spent all that time outdoors and spending time like eating and experimenting berries and like all these little things in the garden that I got to explore.
Yeah.
But I think that's a fascinating point about the sterilization of the things that are going in the child's mouth. And like, I mean, I have so many friends with little ones, and I see them in the park or in the grass, and anytime a child goes to like the dirt or grass and put anything in the mouth, everyone freaks out.
Yes. Yeah.
Everyone gets so upset about anything going in the, and I understand to a point, but But it's so fascinating because we need that exposure.
Yes.
Even as infants.
Yeah, and going back to the recalibration of how can we take this learning and apply it to what we know as modern living. You know, this is a little bit sad, but our soil has changed so much,
Yes.
right? So we can't even say that our soil is exactly what it used to be 200 years ago. But also our soil just bioaccumulates so much, particularly in urban environments. So we had a friend who had the soil in their backyard tested because they wanted their son to play outside a lot, and it had like ridiculous amounts of lead in it. And so it was not recommended that he play outside because of this. So that's soil where you might, with the best intention, say, hey, spend time outside, but it's actually not healthy soil, which is so sad and unfortunate. But how can we start to create an awareness around it? And with that awareness, we can start making different types of decisions that can lead us back to a place of hopefully more health.
Oh my gosh, it's all so interesting because I'm just glad that there's a brand like yours to really educate people on the true health of our skin and our connection to it, because I just feel like, again, I have spent so much time in the beauty space for so many years, and I see it, like so much of it is marketing.
Yeah.
And I love so many brands.
Yes.
And
that's okay.
Yeah.
You know, I think the industry is such a lovely place where people should engage with it from a perspective of self-care and self-love and things that make them feel good, regardless of what brand might be put on that bottle.
Sure.
And what our big vision is, and what I hope this industry will be able to do with this new learning and understanding now that we know that the microbiome is there and we know how important it is for the skin, how can we start formulating all products so that in addition to formulating with, you know, how we want to define clean ingredients or without certain sets of ingredients and for phenomenal textures and all of these formulation criteria that cosmetic chemists have developed and been able to formulate fantastic products with, how can we add another checkbox that is also intended for, like, hey, it's going to be friendly to the good bugs on your skin? How can we move the whole industry in that direction? That, I think, is the big vision and what a lot of people and companies are trying to figure out. And we're just at the beginning, which means that there's a lot to learn, but it's also really exciting because it could present really fundamentally different ways to treat skin from a cosmetic standpoint, and then even the more serious stuff like acne and eczema in the future.
It's just so important. I think it's just so important. And can you believe this like space we're in right now?
Oh my God.
This is just, isn't this magical?
It's so gorgeous.
I mean, look at this.
And it's so peaceful.
I know, listen to that.
Yeah.
There's nothing. I think we're like in the middle of an orange grove. I see like little orange trees popping up here and there, and it's just, I feel like we're on a movie set. Don't you feel like we're somewhere else?
It doesn't seem real.
It doesn't seem real.
Yeah.
And that's the whole thing, right? Like nature is so beautiful that it doesn't seem real, which is also sad in a way that we're not out here enough to just, well, I know we appreciate it, but I'm hoping that more people can really, you know, be in this place and just in awe.
Yeah.
Because this is real, and it's so special that we're in a time in history where I feel like I'm so thankful that I get to spend time with you to talk to you about what you're doing, because it's so, for me, I think it's so important that more people understand.
I agree.
And it's about education, and to really just take the time to be like, this is why we need it. And while like everything, there is always other options to do things, I think it's important to take the time to have conversations, to learn, to educate, and lead healthy paths and healthy lives. And okay, we have to stop for a second and look. I know I just was in the middle of something, but look at how beautiful this is. Oh my gosh. Incredible. I'm sure we cannot eat them, but isn't this beautiful? Oh, it just came right off.
Oh, they are so soft.
Oh my gosh, you want to smell this? Smell that.
Oh, wow.
Isn't this? Oh my God, I really want to eat it, but yeah. Oh my God, that smells absolutely spectacular.
Here, we can carry it through.
You want to carry that for a little bit? It matches your top, so there you go. So you can just carry it as a little whatever. Fantastic.
Yeah, we'll ask someone what it is. Someone
we will.
know.
We'll ask someone from the team exactly what we're looking at, because I don't know, it's gorgeous. But
but it looks like a small lemon, but it feels like a peach.
Yeah, it does feel like a peach.
It's
it almost smells like a peach too, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Peach or orange?
Yeah.
Grapefruit? I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah.
So Is there something you're excited about that's coming down the pipe for you?
We have a couple of products that are launching in the next 12 months that I'm really excited about. Both of them have been incredibly difficult to formulate, and our director of product development, her name is Jennifer. She has been such a master at bringing them to life. So I'm really excited about those. Those are just really technically challenging and have been among the most asked for by our users. So I'm excited about that. But in general, I think over the next 5 to 10 years, I'm really excited to see where the field is going to go and how this is going to change both the cosmetic industry and as well maybe some of the things that were prescribed in the future.
So exciting. Well, thank you so much.
Thank
Jasmina,
you.
I so appreciate you, and I'm so glad we get
likewise.
some more time off camera
Yes,
to chat even more.
of course.
But thank you for your time, because I know you are a busy woman. You've got a lot going on. But I think what you're doing is so important.
Thank you for
And I'm
doing
excited.
this. Thank you so much for doing this. This is magical. You will not have to twist my arm ever, ever, ever to come here.
Okay, good. And then I'm gonna come see you in Boston. We can talk and walk some more
Yes.
there, which I would love.
That'd be great.
Well, thank you.
That'd
Thank
be
you so much
great.
for your time.
Thank you.
And thank you all for tuning in this week. I appreciate your time. And how can everyone find you if you'd like to share?
Motherdirt.com.
Perfect.
Pretty
Is it
easy.
also at Mother Dirt for Instagram?
Yes.
Perfect. Well, thank you for sharing.
Easy. Thanks.
All right. Till next time, guys. Thank you so
Bye.
much. This episode of A Walk with Walsh wouldn't be possible without our sponsor, Mother Dirt. Learn more about all their great products.
Clean. We create habits around this word from the moment we're born. We clean ourselves, our kids, our homes, our environment so that we can be healthy. Are we? Are clean and healthy starting to become two different things? What about the kind of clean that comes with healthy, with being human, with thriving? Maybe that clean is something different.
And I want to thank our season partners, the Inn at Serenbe and Igni Productions. Continue the conversation by subscribing to our YouTube channel and the companion podcast available at Apple Podcast. Thanks again for tuning in. See you next Wednesday for more walks.